Hey everyone, how's it going? Cloud here, and welcome to my guide on the Royal Trouble quest. Now, for this quest you need the following requirements. So you must complete the prequel quest, which is Throne of Miscellania. You're also going to need level 40 agility. Boosts will work, so if you want to use like a summer pie, that will make your required level a little bit lower. You also need a combat level in order to defeat a level 63 giant sea snake. And as for the items, the only items you're going to need are 5 pieces of coal, and obviously some weapon, armour and food for the fight against the sea snake. The only other item that I recommend bringing along with you is if you've got any Miscellania teleport scrolls, which can be purchased from the Grand Exchange. They're only about 1,000 coins each, and those of you who watch my guide on the Throne of Miscellania quest, you'll remember how easy it was travelling back and forth if you have a few of those on you. So that's it for the requirements and items. Now on to the quest starting point. So we're just outside the Miscellania castle again. Now, quickest way to get to Miscellania Castle is by using a teleport scroll, like I said, or you've got the option to use a fairy ring to get here, or the other way is by travelling to Relica and then using the dock from there to get to here. But I would definitely recommend getting some Miscellania scrolls just because they're quite cheap and it makes it so much easier. From here, you want to go inside the main castle and go to the first floor and go speak to Advisor Grimm to start the quest. So, the advisor will inform you that your subjects are worried about the possibility of another war between Miscellania and Etcetera. With nothing to do and the inability to leave the castle, King Vargas has been trying to rule again, and in the process has started to quarrel with Queen Sigrid. So what we need to do now is either speak to Prince Brand or Princess Astrid in their respective rooms next to the throne, and you'll see a cutscene where the Prince and Princess discuss an imminent war and the steps that could be taken to prevent it. The Prince offers a solution, trying to persuade the King to marry the Queen of Etcetera. So now you want to speak with King Vargas about his war threats against Etcetera, and he'll explain that he's retaliating to the Queen. He quickly changed the subject, telling that the various resources in his kingdom have been going missing, and asked you to investigate by talking to the citizens of Miscellania and Etcetera. So you want to exit the castle and talk to any employed subject about the missing goods. So that's either the woman near the farming patch, or the guy near the maple logs, or the mining guy. Any one of those 3 that you normally use to get your approval rating up. They will tell you that the Etcetrian soldiers came and demanded tithes from them, and your subjects refused, and they soon found their goods were stolen. So now we want to head over to Etcetera Castle and go on the ground floor and speak to Queen Sigrid in there. So I'll speak to you in a few moments. So the Queen will tell you her side of the story, and also saying that items have been stolen from her subjects and is immediately suspicious of King Vargas. So what you want to do is go outside and talk to any one of the citizens there who also do the different resources. I think there's only like 2 or 3 over here, so just keep talking to sort of each person you see until one of them tells you about the same story as the Miscellania counterparts, but instead it was Miscellanean soldiers that stole their goods. So go back to Queen Sigrid and tell her of the current situation. And then when you've spoken to her, you want to head back to King Vargas at the Miscellania Castle by either walking or using one of the scrolls, and you also want to tell him of the current situation. So King Vargas will suggest speaking to Advisor Grimm to gather anything about the recent suspicious activities. So if you go over to your advisor, he'll say that the Miscellanians are very loyal and the thieves must have arrived on the island from outside, and ask you to talk to the sailor at the docks. So you want to go back out of the castle and head to the docks, which is sort of to the southern part of the island, and that's how you get here from Relica. So once you get there, talk to the sailor, and after saying that the Advisor Grimm is stuck with paranoia, he mentions those kids from Relica who came to visit their relatives in the dungeons. On further inquiry, the sailor tells you that since the war ended, more people have flocked over from the mainland, and the dungeons had to be opened for providing them shelter, and that's where the kids can be found. So we now want to head back to King Vargas and ask about how to get into the dungeons. So King Vargas will claim he had forgotten about the dungeons, and he'll write on a scroll granting you access into the underground caves. Before leaving, he also requests you take into a look in the odd sightings reported there. So the dungeons are located in the southwest corner of Miscellania's marketplace, and you'll see there's a guard standing near sort of the trapdoor. Show the scroll to the guard there, and after he approves, climb down the ladder to arrive in a small underground town. So the dwarfs to the very north are sort of blocking the mining sort of area, if you want to call it that, and they'll suggest talking to a dwarf named Donald who saw some sightings. Donald is found in the bar on the eastern side of this area. So he will tell you he was working on the excavations but fears an enormous terrible monster inside the cave tunnels to carry on with his work. Tell him you will go fight the monster, and he guides you on how to get into the tunnels, and he gives you a mining prop for stabilising the cave entrance. So go back to where the dwarfs were we spoke to a minute ago, and use the mining prop on the crevice, and you'll be able to squeeze through it. So, now you need to repair the lift using the items found in the boxes. First you need to take 3 beams, 3 pulley beams, and a rope from the crates and an engine. You want to add 5 chunks of coal to the engine before you start assembling the whole structure. So first use a pulley beam on the broken scaffold on the east side of the room to attach it. Then use a beam on a pulley beam to make a long pulley beam, and then use it with another beam to get a longer pulley beam, and you then need to attach that to the scaffold. Then use the final pulley beam on the scaffold as well. You then want to use the rope on the scaffold to wind it through the pulleys, and then use the 3rd beam on the platform to repair that, and then finally place the engine on the engine platform. And the lift should now be operational, but grab another rope from the crate before you use the lift on the platform to head closer to the island. So after you step off the lift, grab the plank on the ground and enter the small tunnel to the east, and you want to follow the cavern east until you see a water pool. You want to use your rope on the overhanging rock and then across over the pool on a new rope swing. Head east a bit and search the fire remains to find a burnt diary and page in embers. You want to read the child diary if you wish, and be sure to keep it. Follow the bend further into the cavern until you reach another water area, and you want to use the plank to walk over the 4 slippery rocks. As you travel through the cavern, search all of the fire remains to find and add pages to the burnt diary. And also, when you get up to this bit, do not walk on a steam vent, otherwise it will inflict some damage, and it can also keep you in place, increasing the amount of damage you can take. So just sort of navigate around them. Once you get near the end of the tunnel, search the last fire remain for the 5th page of the diary and read the finished notes. So once you've read the diary, follow the bend of the cavern until you come to a crevice in the north wall and squeeze it through to start a cutscene. So the teenagers in the cutscene explain they were unable to pass their own trials to become Fremenniks, so they hatched a plan to start a war on the islands and then stop it to be seen as heroes. When the cutscene is over, continue talking to the kids and they will tell you that they kept aside the stolen goods to return after the plan was complete, but a huge sea snake took residence with them and requests you to take care of it in exchange for leaving the island. So you want to lead the Fremennik teenagers and continue into the cabin, passing lots of non-aggressive venomous sea hatchlings and sea snake young until you come to a shaft of light from the surface, and you'll see there's a crevice in the north wall, and squeeze past that and you will enter a chamber filled with a hatched and unhatched snake eggs and a giant level 63 sea snake. So the sea snake fights with melee up close and range from a distance. He will also poison you if you're attacked for a fair amount, but the poison only really starts at 98 life points, so that shouldn't do that much damage to you by the time you've actually killed it, because even though he's got a combat level of 63, his defense is very low and his life points are pretty minimal, so you should have a pretty easy time against him. If you've got relevant prayers, sort of like the protect prayers, obviously you can use those to help you out, or any stat boosting prayers as well. After the snake is killed, pick up the heavy box containing the stolen items, and you want to exit the cave, and you'll see through the hole above the chamber that a guard has seen you, and he'll toss a rope down for you to climb up. Do so and you'll find yourself outside the town walls of Cetria. You want to make your way to Queen Sigrid and inform her of what you've learned about the teenagers and the sea snake, and she will give you an apology letter to take to King Vargas, thus preventing a possibly devastating war. And now we need to head back to King Vargas to finish the quest, so either head across by walking or use one of your teleport scrolls again, and we'll speak to you once you're there. So, the king will thank you for stopping the imminent war, and it will come with congratulations, you have completed the Royal Trouble quest. You're awarded 1 quest point, 20,000 coins, 5,000 agility, slayer and constitution experience, increased resources from Miscellania, access to the dungeon that connects Miscellania and etc., 2 treasure hunter keys and 2 hearts of ice. So overall, very easy quest really. There's not much running around compared to the first one, and the only really struggle bit with this quest is probably just fighting the sea snake. But again, if you're a fairly decent combat level to begin with, which you should be by the time you've got to this quest, you should make easy work of it, especially as Hero's quest was a requirement for the Throne of Miscellania, and the enemies in that were a lot harder than this one. So the main reward for this is increased resources from Miscellania and etc. So the island management that you can unlock from doing Throne of Miscellania is now further unlocked, and there's actually a pretty good way of making money, as long as you need like a 1 million coin investment to start, but then you will make money every day by practically doing nothing. Now a lot of people don't really know about this, so what I'm going to do, in the video description below once it's made, I'll have a guide sort of about the island management and how's the best way to sort of maximise your profit from that, and in that way, if you follow the way that I've been doing it, you'll get at least sort of 150k profit each day for practically doing nothing. So who can complain of that, eh? So like I said, when I've made a video for that, that'll be available in the description below, so just keep your eye out. But yeah, I don't think you'll run into any problems following my guide. However, if you do get stuck, leave a comment in the comment section below and I'll help you out as best I can. If not, thank you for watching. Please make sure you like, favourite, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to share with your friends. Cheers guys, bye bye.